Aloha and welcome to Ehana Kako. I'm Keli'i Akina, president of the Grassroot Institute, and today I get to do something that is thoroughly fun. I get to focus a little bit upon this entity called ThinkTech Hawaii. Today's show is called ThinkTech for Hawaii because ThinkTech, above all things, is for Hawaii, a better Hawaii, a future in which our keiki have a better place to live. But how's that happening? One way to understand that is to realize we are the most isolated archipelago on the planet. We're further away from anywhere else, whether it be Asia, America, South America. Hawaii is not only isolated from without, we're sometimes isolated within. Being an island group of 8 populated islands and other entities within us, we sometimes don't really hear what each other are saying. But that's changing. It's changing because ThinkTech Hawaii is ending this isolation, bringing ideas and people together. And today, I'd like to dedicate this show simply to understanding why ThinkTech is for Hawaii. And my 2 guests are with me today, just wonderful friends. Sachi Slomoff, floor manager here at ThinkTech. Aloha.
Thanks, Keli'i.
So glad you're on the program today.
Thanks for having me.
And the founder, president, chief bottle washer, and cook, Jay Fidel. Jay, glad you're on the program. You live here, Jay, actually, don't you?
I do live here. My heart is here 24/7.
Absolutely. You know, I'm so delighted to be part of ThinkTech Hawaii. Our organization, Grassroot Institute, considers our partnership with ThinkTech to be one of our most valuable partnerships.
And we feel our partnership with the Grassroot Institute is fabulous, and with you, it's fabulous.
Well, I want to thank you. Right at the beginning, just nuts and bolts. What is this thing called ThinkTech Hawaii? An organization, a movement, a broadcast network? What is ThinkTech
It's all
Hawaii?
of that. It's all of that, but principally it's a nonprofit,
All right.
digital media organization focused on raising public awareness and providing a platform for civic engagement in certain areas, and maybe others too, but principally tech, energy, diversification of the economy, and globalism. That is, having people think globally.
Right, and you mentioned the word platform. That
Yeah.
means it's a place where ideas are generated and communicated.
Yeah.
Well, what exactly is that platform? Radio, television?
Well, this is our studio, and if you turn the chroma key off for a minute, you'll see what it really looks like. Let's see if we can do that.
So you are the grand producer.
There it
There we
is.
go.
That's what we really look
You've
like
just
here in our
removed
green
the
screen
beautiful
studio.
scenery of Hawaii and replaced it with the green screen.
And our amazing Zuri Bender is
Yeah.
behind
Yes.
the control room.
Right,
doing
and we
that.
have a fabulous staff that makes all this happen.
And you produce how much content every week? About how many hours?
Well, with the assistance of our staff, which is Zuri Bender is production engineer, and Sachi Slomoff, and others, Nick Sexton, and
Carol.
It's a great
Carol,
family
my
here.
vice president, Carol Monley.
That's
who's
right.
Out there
There's
somewhere.
a little dog out there too.
Yes,
and
that's our and Rich
For our
Propose.
future.
There you
is
go.
another floor manager. Anyway, we get it all done with this very affable staff that we all like to be involved
That's
in the
great.
creative process with people like you.
So bottom line, you've got a bunch of programs, you have original hosts and producers, a total of about how many hours of original content is produced here every
Well,
week?
our talk shows are 25 talk shows, roughly 25 hours a week.
That's incredible.
And we broadcast them on livestream.com, live, and you can see that on our website,
All right.
thinktechhawaii.com. And then we keep them. We keep them on youtube.com, at the ThinkTech Hawaii channel on YouTube, which is also available through our website, thinktechhawaii.com.
Okay.
And you can search for them and find anything. You can find a playlist, for example, for a Hanakako all the way back. Hundreds of,
That's right.
of episodes of a Hanakako.
Okay, well, you've done a great job describing the nuts and bolts. Basically, ThinkTech Hawaii is a broadcast network that produces 25 hours of original content. And if that content weren't being
I didn't
produced
finish,
every
though.
week, go ahead.
We also produce one show a week that plays 7 times through the week
That's
for
right.
OC16.
That's
it's a
right.
feature show. And we all collaborate on that, make that happen. It plays on channel OC16, which is channel 12 on cable. It premieres at 10:30 p.m. on Sunday and plays 6 more times through the week.
And you've just started a new feature whereby public speakers, politicians, candidates can actually come on the program and get a little bit of time.
We just started something called Speaker's Corner, and we invite people to come in and make comments, make remarks, express
So there's
themselves.
an opportunity.
They can come in, you know, at a designated time on Saturday, and they can come in and do a video. We'll do a video with them, and then we'll play the video in our break times and in our 24/7, overnight stream, and we'll put it on our YouTube channel as well.
That's great. So basically, that's what ThinkTech is all about. Now, I want to switch gears just a little
There's
bit.
more.
There is absolutely more, but I'm going to ask
There's
this
always
lady here
more.
to give her frame of reference. Jay has given the official technical description of what ThinkTech does. And there would be a big black hole here in the state of Hawaii if we didn't have that 25 hours plus of content coming out free from graft, corruption, or any political partisanship and so forth, making a difference in Hawaii. But you, Sachi, you've come here to work, you've learned here, you give your time, it's a second home for you. Why is ThinkTech so important to you?
I feel like ThinkTech has the real pulse on what's going on in the community, because we get so many different people and guests and hosts like here every day, every week, and it's kind of like we're just tapping in, trying to figure out, hey, what's going on? What's the latest? Or like, what are people worried about? What are people learning?
Sure. Now there's a lot of content out there. We have the broadcast television stations, we've got the newspaper, I was gonna say newspapers, but we've got really one newspaper in this town. We've got the Neighbor Island newspapers. How does ThinkTech make a difference? What difference do you see at ThinkTech with all the content here from the general media?
I think it's like ThinkTech's like a huge resource. Sometimes I think it's like a really untapped resource. Like people, like I wish more people knew about ThinkTech Hawaii, because we really have like so much content. So I think like the fact that we can have on the community and with the media and everything is just being this kind of honest outlet that has a lot of integrity, because our shows are live recorded, they're not edited too. There's no real interference with like, this, what's said is said. It's not like later in post-production.
Right. Now one of the things that I find quite remarkable, Jay, is that you've got a combination of soapbox where you allow bona fide members of the community to come and speak about their areas of concern or expertise. But you have exceedingly high production values. You've got a professional studio, and you're able to put those two things together. Where did you come up with that concept?
Interesting. Well, it evolved, Our production values are high, but we had to work to do that. The studio, green screen studio, lots of lights, LED lights, 4 cameras, a TriCaster switching setup, which Zuri Bender runs in the control room. This didn't come overnight. It didn't come easy. It didn't come cheap either.
Right. You've made a remarkable investment in something that actually rivals and exceeds the quality of many actual professional broadcast studios. And yet what you're doing with this is giving access to the person and experts who might otherwise not have access to such high quality.
We want to poke into the corners of the community. We want to see things that maybe people don't otherwise see, know things they don't otherwise know, learn things they wouldn't otherwise learn. So we look hither and yon. We look all across the board on technology, as I said, and energy, diversification and globalism, but on really anything that is interesting, to the community. We want to raise public awareness in general.
Now you've got some wonderful programs with some great hosts that produce content that you otherwise would not see if they had not this platform. Can you think of one program in particular, any one of the programs, not the best, not the worst, but one, and walk us through a little bit of the anatomy of that program. What constitutes that program? What does it do every week, so that our viewers can understand that a little bit better?
Well, of course, there's Ehana Kako.
That's right.
Which is an excellent program with an excellent moderator.
And
it was actually one of our earliest, I remember.
Well, you and I had a great chat about that. You invited me to come on board and to give the viewpoints of Grassroots Institute, and you even came up with a name at that time that I'm so glad we didn't go with.
Can we talk about that name?
The upright position.
The upright position.
It sounded too much like the uptight position.
I thought of it on a plane when I was flying. I was trying to figure out a name, so you know, the stewardess said, we're landing now in Honolulu. Please put your seats in the upright position. I said, that's it?
There we go.
He didn't like
That's
it.
so creative. Okay.
Well,
I didn't know that.
We came up with Ehana Kako because it really reflects not only what we want to do at Grassroots, but what is going on at ThinkTech, and that means let's work together. Ehana, let's work Kako together with everyone. And really, ThinkTech has a broad variety of viewpoints. It's not one viewpoint.
Oh, no, right.
It's
I mean,
multiple viewpoints.
it could be from any source on any side of the aisle. It just has to be, you know, a tasteful discussion of what's happening in our community, what we
Okay.
could learn from and use, you know, in evolving our community to a better place.
Now, in the anatomy of a program, I see a handful of elements. One element is quality production studio. You've talked a bit about that, and that's the investment that ThinkTech and the board of directors and your funders have actually made. So we're grateful for that. Then you also have something that's absolutely key, and that's the host. And there are about how many hosts, Jay?
Well, just very nearly 25.
Nearly 25. Sachi, what exactly is the role of the host from the conception of the program through the actual execution? What do you see hosts doing and why are they important?
The host has the vision, you can correct me if I'm wrong too anytime, as the vision of the show that they want to produce, the theme, the type of guests that they want to have at the table.
You know, one of the things I've noticed when I've met many of the hosts, whether it's at ThinkTech Hawaii functions or here in the studio, is that each host is not only an expert in some field, but is absolutely passionate about communicating about that.
You have to be passionate to be a host here.
Yeah, it's volunteer. It's a volunteer, and you have to go out and reach out to people. You have to shape the track of the show, the subject of the show, and you have to do it every week. So it
takes a lot of commitment.
It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of passion. It takes a lot of expertise.
That's right.
And it takes a lot of heart, you know, because you have to be curious and care about people and care about all your guests and want to connect with them.
Sachi, before we go to a break and say goodbye to you, are there any programs that kind of stand out to you? Is there one in particular that might let our viewers understand how ThinkTech works?
Sure. One show I really like is Jim Sean's Movers, Education Movers, Shakers, and Reformers, because he kind of talks to different educators in Hawaii, and I feel like if I were a parent or if I had like a brother or sister, I could kind of look at this show and kind of know what's going on in the education system.
So he's got all kinds of guests from every level of the education system.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Sachi, thanks for being on the program.
Thank you so much.
We're going to let you go in a moment.
Okay,
and
got
we'll
more
be
work
right
to
back
do.
in just a minute. Yes, Sachi has to go back to work running the ThinkTech Hawaii studio here with Zuri in the background here. Just glad to have you on board. We're going to find out some little-known secrets about ThinkTech here in Hawaii with Jay Fidel.
Aloha! You can join the Hawaii Farmers Series every Thursday from 4 to 5 on ThinkTech.
And I'm your co-host, Matthew Johnson, here with Justine Espiritu.
And we are so thankful to have this show to use as a forum to get to know all the movers and shakers in agriculture in Hawaii and hear kind of their background and history, as well as
Their perspective on what they're doing and also the future for agriculture in Hawaii.
So join us every Thursday. You can tweet in your own comments and suggestions and be a part of the conversation at ThinkTech High. And we hope to see you every single Thursday.
Aloha, my name is Josh Green. I host a show called Healthcare in Hawaii here on ThinkTech. We get together once a week or sometimes twice a month. Depends when we're busy. We get together less often, but we love to see you here to talk about the preeminent healthcare issues in our state. Our programs vary very widely. We talk about economics, we talk about healthcare, we talk about social issues on this program. Thanks for joining us.
Aloha! How you doing? It's me, Angus McTech, wishing you to welcome and join us to see us on Hibachi Talk on ThinkTech Hawaii. Join my co-hosts, Gordo the Tech Czar and Andrew the Security Guy, every Friday from 1300 to 1345. We look forward to seeing you. We'll talk tech and we'll have some wee bit of fun. And remember, let your wing gang free wherever you be. Aloha!
Welcome back to Ehana Kako. We're here every week on the ThinkTech Hawaii Broadcast Network. I'm Keli'i Akina with the Grassroot Institute, and one of the things that we love to keep in mind at Grassroot is Ehana Kako. There's a venerable old saying here in Hawaii called a pule kako, let's pray together. But we also think at the Grassroot Institute, which is a public policy think tank, that we have to ehana kako. We have to let's work together. Because think of the terrible alternative of not working together. And you know, ThinkTech Hawaii exists so that people will work together on the basis of good information, on the basis of being informed, and on the basis of really having a platform with which to communicate with each other and to the world. So I want to thank you for being here. And again, my guest today is Jay Fidel, President, Founder, and Chief Bottle Washer and Cook at ThinkTech. You know, Jay, what's a program that comes to mind where there's a good host, a good set of guests, good content, so forth? What do you envision when I ask you that?
Oh, I mean, several come to mind, but one comes to mind first, and that's Josh Green, Healthcare in Hawaii. He's been on our programs for a long time.
Now, Josh, he's a legislator, but he's also a physician.
Yeah, he's a doctor on the Big Island.
All right.
Emergency room doctor there. But as a member and formerly the chair of the Health Committee in the Senate, he knows a lot about what's going on in health.
So he's got a program here. Well, why would he, with his job on the Big Island of being a physician, flying over here to be in our state legislature, why would he devote himself once a week to do a program here at ThinkTech Hawaii, which takes a lot of commitment?
I think there are many reasons. I mean, certainly an elected politician wants to, have some publicity.
So this is a great platform for
great
him
platform.
to be seen.
But there's other things too, especially in his case. I remember when I was appointed to the High Tech Development Corporation board back in 2003 by Linda Lingle. And Steve Levinson,
Right.
Justice Steve Levinson gave the address to all the people who had been appointed. And he said, never forget, that when you start doing government service, it's a bug that bites you. And it's very hard not to. You become committed at some level, and you want to continue to do community service. And it was true. You learn about it, you enjoy it, you're comfortable in it, and you want to do that some more. So I think Josh Green is one of those people who the bug has bitten him. He wants to do community service. He wants to better the state. Maybe it's something to do with the being a doctor and
Sure.
the oath of caduceus. What is it?
That's right.
Hippocrates.
The Hippocratic Oath.
Hippocratic Oath.
And what's interesting is that the public then, by tuning into Josh's program here, gets a combination of somebody who's involved in public policy at the legislature and somebody who is in a hands-on way actually practicing medicine.
Sure. So he knows.
Mm-hmm.
He knows all the issues that are out there. He's had some very avant-garde shows about health, and epidemiological issues that are happening right now. B, because he's a legislator, he can talk about policy because he talks about policy in the course of the legislature.
That's right.
Anyway. And C, he knows the people. And, if he as a senator calls up and says, you involved in health, can you come down and join me on the show? He's likely to get an affirmative answer. So he can bring in a lot of really valuable guests in the health field.
That's right. In the general media, there are news programs where there are medical correspondents. Sanchi Gutpa.
Sure.
I forgot, how do I say his name? On one of the big broadcast networks.
Yeah.
But I don't know any shows, certainly not locally, where they're actually practicing physicians involved in public policy and consistently, week after week, bringing our healthcare issues to bear on the program so people can be informed.
He's not the only one. We have Steve Katz, who does shrink wrap.
Oh, yes.
He's
here,
a psychologist.
That's right.
And he brings in other psychologists. He brings in other people, including nonprofits in the community who help the community on psychological levels, mental health in general. Very valuable show. And it's part of that same strain of let's look at health. Let's size up the community. Let's see what's going on here.
Sure.
Stuff you wouldn't necessarily know about.
Now, one of the most important issues here in Hawaii today is the issue of agriculture. Where we've come from, where we are now, and where, if anywhere, we're going in that industry. And you've got quite a few programs that address that. Justine Espiritu has a program based on farming. And
Yeah.
I think her program's called Hawaii Farming.
The Hawaii Farmer.
The Hawaii Farmer.
Yeah, or Hawaii Farmer.
Hawaii
And she
Farmer.
co-hosts with a fellow named Matt Johnson on Thursday at 4 to 5. They are really great. They bring in people who are actually hands-on in farming, and you learn what's going on out there in the field. This is such an important issue for the millennials.
That's right. In fact, you mentioned the millennials. I mean, there is how shall I put it, a with-itness to their show. They play more contemporary music than you and I listen to, and they move like millennials. And there's something that makes farming, which many millennials never consider, to be attractive. They bring in the technology, the marketing, the business side, all of that. It's not just digging and hoeing.
That's so important to Hawaii. We have to become independent on food. So critical in so many ways. And we also have to provide jobs, careers, and sustainable, resources.
That's right. You know, one of the things that I like about the ThinkTech programs, particularly that program, Hawaii Farmer, is that it's not just a program by a host who has a hobby. It's something that truly
These guys are actually involved in it.
Yes, and it's something that truly intersects the public policy center where we need to make differences here in the state. And absolutely, understanding agriculture and ensuring a sustainable future in terms of agriculture is so crucial.
On that point, Keli'i, yes, we want to make policy, and we want to hear from policymakers. We want to have a view of all sides of every policy question. But in order to get to that point, you have to find out what's happening on the ground, how people are feeling, what they're doing, what their lives are like, what their problems are like, what they see their future. And we'd like to have that too. I don't think you can do policy unless you know what's happening, really happening.
In many ways, the programs here are about policy and about people, and they're intimately intersected together. I enjoy the human side of what gets communicated in ThinkTech, and that's so important, as you point out. It's not just policy issues themselves.
Yeah, and to go further, we're always interested in business. We have several business shows about startups, about entrepreneurial activity, about business organizations to try to help other businesses, and for that matter, nonprofits to try to help the social safety net. We like to do an examination of the functioning enterprises in the state so we can get a handle on exactly how the economy, both profit and nonprofit, is working right now. I think you need to know that in order to have a reality test on what's going on. And that's what we're trying to do. We're lucky that we have evolved this way, that we have gathered this kind of host, and they have in turn attracted these kinds of guests. But I think we, as you said before, I think we do get a pretty good readout of what's happening on the ground.
I think so. There are numerous public issues that are actually dealt with on ThinkTech, and some of them are not receiving much attention in other sectors of media. Well, what are a couple of the major issue areas where ThinkTech really takes the lead in providing information and discourse?
Well, I think you, Hanakako, is very important. Health policy is very important. We have a program on jobs. We have a program called Life in the Law that Carol Malia, Vice President, interviews for. And we're learning about changes, in the legal system and what it's like to be a lawyer, what it's like to be a judge or a law professor these days. And I think that's very valuable because people don't run into those guys on the street necessarily. And this, sort of keeps them in touch. And I think it keeps the public in touch with, that end of the economy, that end of the society. We like to talk about our society, examine our society, and we bring in people who are familiar with all the corners and can talk about the policy issues in their corners.
You also have programs that are culturally oriented, like one involving the Hispanic community.
We have a program which is essentially a Spanish language program. Maria Mera, who I think it's Tuesday, and she hosts something called, or is it? No, I think it's Tuesday.
Right, it's on Mondays actually.
Monday.
And for our
it's
viewers,
called, Viva Hawaii.
That's right, and for our viewers, they can actually stay tuned in because we're going to have
right
that
after
episode
this.
right after this, and I think it involves some pageant winners.
She's very good.
You also have some programs that are culturally oriented in terms of culture and the arts.
We have Center Stage with Donna Blanchard.
That's right.
Talks about the performing arts. And we've had a number of programs on the arts in general. We've had a number of guests come by, talk about their arts. Once in a while, we have Seymour Kazimirski, who's actually going to record something tomorrow on his involvement and support of the arts.
Well, good. When we come back from a break, I want to ask you a little bit about the possibility of getting involved with ThinkTech, and the possibility of actually using this platform for the ideas that anyone out there may have and want to cultivate. I'm Keli'i Akina, president of Grassroots Institute, with my good friend Jay Fidel, ThinkTech Hawaii, and we'll be right back after this short break.
Hi, I'm Donna Blanchard. I'm the host of Center Stage here on ThinkTech. This show is so very dear to my heart. We talk with artists of various different ilk here about the process that they go through for their art. So we talk about what they're doing, why they are doing it, how they do it. And it's a show that is inspiring. This is what I hear from people all the time. And a show that will teach you something, sometimes something about yourself. I hope you'll join us. The show is Center Stage. It's on ThinkTech every Wednesday at 2 o'clock. We'll see you then.
Hi, I'm Stan the Energy Man, Stan Osterman, and I'm here to tell you about my show on Friday, every Friday, on my lunch hour, 12 o'clock till 1 o'clock here on ThinkTech Hawaii. We talk about everything energy and anything you ever wanted to know about energy. So we're full of energy, and we'll see you here every Friday at noon to 1. Aloha.
Welcome back to today's final segment of Ehana Kako, here every week on the ThinkTech Hawaii Broadcast Network. Well, I hope you appreciate ThinkTech Hawaii as much as I do, and you can get their wonderful content at least 25 hours a week that is produced every week here in Hawaii online, thinktechhawaii.com. Thinktechhawaii.com has an archive full of programs on every conceivable topic, making a difference here in the state of Hawaii.
You can watch at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's
I
right.
sometimes do.
You know, Jay, you're absolutely
and the
right.
experience at 2 o'clock in the morning is really a heightened experience because you're alone with the program, and you're really your mind opens and you begin listening and you realize the value of the content. And whenever I'm down, about all the work I got to do, I start watching.
So if our viewers...
ThinkTechHawaii.com, 2 o'clock in the morning.
There you go. So if our viewers have nothing to do, they can, at 2 a.m., drive by your house and see a blue light emanating from your window. All right.
One thing is, it does not put you to sleep. It wakes you up.
Now what does your
It's different.
lovely wife feel about that?
She's in the bedroom.
She's watching along with you. Very
She's sleeping.
good. Jay, go back to the history a little bit, when the idea was conceived and what you saw in the early days bringing ThinkTech together.
Well,
tell us how far we've come, really.
The story is that, in the year 2000, the convention center was only for
outside
conventions.
Right. People coming here.
There
from
were they didn't permit
elsewhere.
local events of any kind. We were the first one. ThinkTech was the first one, and we did this in conjunction with the Building Owners and Managers Association, and it was about tech. And we lined up every tech company we could find, and we, had them all give testimonials. And this kind of got infectious. Later on, we got together. I guess it was in the early part of 2001, before 9/11, and we organized 4 of us. It was Loria Cow, Gordon Bruce, who's still with us, Don Mangiarelli, and me. We organized a radio show on Hawaii Public Radio.
That's right.
And that went on for 8 years.
And do you remember that I was one of your guests?
Yes, I do.
Your studio was in your former law offices at that time.
This radio show, the one I'm talking about, is with Hawaii Public Radio down on Ahana Street. And we had a weekly show. It's been succeeded by Bite Marks Cafe, Bert Lum, Ryan Ozawa. But then it was us 4 guys for all those 8 years, and we had a wonderful time together doing tech and community. But after that, that ended in 2008, and after that, we started doing AM radio and video in my office, as you say, and ultimately we got a studio in the basement of the Davies Pacific Center, and then here in Pioneer Plaza. And now, as of last June, we have this great new green screen studio here in Suite 888.
Right, you used to be locked down in the basement, and then the building management decided it was time to let you come up to the high rise itself.
It was very fortuitous. We are very grateful to them.
Well, that's wonderful. And now, today, it's evolved into really the leading alternative to mainstream media in terms of issues and public policy.
I hope we can, broadcast more and further in more ways, and maintain and expand our coverage, and reach into, more subjects and more homes, as it were.
Sure. Now, there are many levels at which the community is engaged with ThinkTech as a convener of the broader discussion of issues.
Thought you'd never mention it.
One of the ways, of course, is through monthly activities that you have. I mean, you've covered a broad range of topics, from the military to agriculture to energy and so forth. And you have many more programs like this lined up.
Yeah, well, we have these lunch and panel programs. We call them Downtown Forum. And we've met at the Plaza Club. We've met at Laniakea, the Women's Y. We've met at the Anthology Theater in Bishop Square in Pauahi Tower.
That's right.
And coming soon, we'll be meeting at the Courtroom Auditorium in 1132 Bishop Street on the 4th Street Mall for another one. And we're going to do that in conjunction with you guys.
That's right. Grassroots Institute will be your partner in putting on a unique event. And I think we could just chat about it briefly. We don't have all the details to give today, but it's going to be tremendous. We've got a blue chip panel that is confirming at this point on a new approach to an issue that has been divisive in Hawaii.
Yeah, divisive indeed. And we've covered sovereignty and the challenges with the Native Hawaiian people, and the whole issue of how you deal with all of that going forward in the state.
Now,
we've had many guests, many shows
right.
about that. But what we've come up with now is to say, wait, let's look at other alternatives other than sovereignty.
Right, and this isn't an attack upon sovereignty, or it's not. It's simply saying, if sovereignty wasn't the question, what are alternatives for the advancement of the Native Hawaiian people, and what are they doing already?
Right, exactly. And so this is a really interesting discussion, because in my view, it gets to the bedrock. What is happening socially in the state? How are people faring? How are they feeling? How are they conducting themselves in the social experience and in the economy? Where do they fit? Are they integrating? I mean, we had, it's a melting pot place for 150 years. How is it now? And how has it changed, and how will it change going, especially with regard to the Native Hawaiian people?
That's right. What I like about it is it'll be an attempt to bring people together around what's going on, the good things taking place in education, in entrepreneurship, in government, in all sectors of society, where Native Hawaiians are advancing in harmony with the entire population.
Yeah. And we want to explore them. We want to bring in speakers who can talk about their experiences as Native Hawaiians or observing Native Hawaiians, where they have succeeded and what they have learned in the process, and the level of their success, the level of their education in doing that, and share that information and see how it feels when we, sort of roll it around and examine the condition of the state.
So one of the ways organizations can get involved with ThinkTech Hawaii is perhaps on occasion co-sponsoring a monthly forum in their area of expertise, whether it's technology or business or the culture and the arts. Now, in addition to that—
It doesn't mean we agree with you on everything.
Oh, absolutely.
We do not agree with you on everything.
Yes, and I would agree,
okay.
but I would agree with that.
Well, we agree on that.
And in addition to that, involvement, it comes in many forms, including the board of directors, contributors. Tell us a little bit about that as well.
We have a board of 15 members, 15 directors, and they're all active, and they all support us, and they all give us ideas and vet our ideas and help us with projects. It's a great board. We love them all. And as I said, we have the hosts, we have underwriters, about a dozen underwriters who help us keep the lights on.
We also have paid staff and volunteers who, in addition to providing valuable service, are actually learning about the profession of broadcast journalism.
Yes, they are, and it's a thing like I mentioned before about how the bug bites you and you're bitten. You have to keep on doing it. You want to keep on doing it. It really is infectious. So we have a real production facility going on here, and you learn so much to do this. I mean, to set it up, to make all the pieces work, to switch the videos, to broadcast the videos. These are really sexy, interesting, important things to do, and we have learned it all.
Now,
we've learned how to do
right.
it.
You know, I mean, it's not just take out of the box and assemble things. We actually use duct tape here. But very rarely. It's actually very
But I need to add
professional.
that our motto is better every day.
Better every day.
We are
That
always
sounds
trying to
great.
improve everything.
Now,
That's what drives us.
Are there positions for volunteers or workers that are available? Or are you interested in hearing from people?
Well, we are very interested in hearing anybody who wants to make a statement in our Speaker's Corner program. We'd like to hear, like op-ed pieces, commentaries, letters to the editor, video letters to the editor. And so, I mean, I invite you all to contact us. Write to me, if you like, jay@thinktechhawaii.com. Look on our website. Come down and participate.
That's right.
We'll handle as many as we can, and we'll get the word out. And that includes people who are running for office.
That's
we
right.
like people who are running for
There you
office.
go.
It's a good, healthy thing to do. In terms of being a volunteer for studio work, yes.
That's right.
Let us know in terms of helping us with setting up the luncheon programs and doing other programs, doing our movies for OC16, producing, going out in the field on location, doing all those production things you got to do to make it happen. We invite people to help us. We love volunteers.
Sure. And one of the benefits that anyone who comes down and does a speaker's corner, for example, gets is, in addition to being on air and broadcast, giving your 5-minute presentation or however long, they get to take that piece that has been well produced with high production values and use it for whatever.
Yeah, what we do is
promotional
public
purposes.
domain. I
There
mean,
you
we are
go.
not only nonprofit, but we are public domain. So if you want it, you
That's
can
right.
have it.
But you can go to a professional TV studio and pay them a few $100s to produce a wonderful 5-minute piece for you, or you can do it on ThinkTech Hawaii over here, and there's no charge to it, and you get broadcast, and then when it's all done, you get to take that piece with you.
Yeah, or put it on your website or embed it, the other thing is you learn how to deal with being at a table like this. You learn how to deal with the camera. You learn lots, which you can use
right.
in other places and contexts.
Very valuable. There's something I
experience.
learn every week, and the team that you have here is teaching it to me every week, and that is not to trip on cables.
That's very important.
Yeah,
for
I've
you
learned to-
and me both.
I've learned to lift my knee as high as I possibly can. Now, there is a group of people out there who may never have thought of actually being a host or co-hosting with someone and taking their expertise and packaging it and
I'm
bringing
glad you
guests
asked
on
that
and so
question,
forth.
really.
How would one go about that? Perhaps somebody's out there saying, I love these shows and so forth. I'd like to get involved, and maybe I
Sure.
could try out and be a producer.
Well,
And a
a
host.
host. Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for that, and it's an ongoing process to make our 25 shows the best they can possibly be. We're always looking. People come, they go. Hopefully, they stay as long as they can. Sometimes they leave town. Sometimes they just can't do it anymore, and we always need to replace them. So we are always interested in hosts. And a host, as you said, should have some expertise in the area, some familiarity with the guests in the area, the ability to engage with people, to like people, to try to find out what people are made of and have a robust conversation with them. But I think it's also, as you said, it's the passion of the subject,
Very good.
the passion of reaching out.
Jay, as we close in this last couple minutes, I'd like to tell you that one of the reasons I'm involved with ThinkTech Hawaii is I believe there has to be a forum in which ideas are exchanged. one that is free and open, one that generates new ideas, one that allows people to communicate with each other. Because in many ways that's missing from sectors in our community. And so I'm looking forward to the future of ThinkTech making a huge difference here in Hawaii in terms of the market for ideas. Now, in closing, real quickly, what's your vision for the future of ThinkTech?
More of the same, more shows, more coverage, more guests, more subjects, more people not only here but elsewhere watching our stuff, you know, increasing our views on the web, you know, getting the word out, and going to the neighbor islands. We want to go to the neighbor islands and do coverage of things
That's
there.
wonderful.
Up to this point, we've gone maybe once a year, but we want to go more than that.
We'll do that. Well, I look forward to doing that, and maybe we'll take a flight over with you. Jay, thank you very much for being on your
Thank
program.
you,
in your studio.
You're always welcome.
My guests today, Sashi Slomov, whom you met earlier, and Jay Fidel, are making it happen at ThinkTech Hawaii. And this has been ThinkTech for Hawaii. What a great vision of an organization and a movement, a network that's changing Hawaii by bringing ideas to everyone. I'm Keli'i Akina with the Grassroots Institute on the ThinkTech Hawaii Broadcast Network. We'll see you every Monday at 2:00 p.m. or online. Until next week, aloha.
Hello, everybody. I'm IC Davidson. Thanks for tuning in to ThinkTech Hawaii. One of the things that we do here, or the thing that we do here, is promote civic engagement in Hawaii. What does that mean? We want to talk about things that people want to hear about, and we want you to engage us and be part of that conversation. One of the ways that you can do that is by joining in during our live show via Twitter. How do you do that? You get on the interwebs and get Twitter, get an account, and mention us if you have a question. What you'll do is you tune into our show live, tweet us questions, and our hosts and guests will address them accordingly. It's really easy, it's really fun, and I think that your participation in what we're doing here will help us continue the dialogue on very important issues that we're trying to cover. Sustainability, clean energy, you name it, we're on top of it. We want you to be part of what we're doing, because together we'll be able to make things change. Thank you for watching ThinkTech Hawaii, thinktechhawaii.com, weekdays 12 to 5 p.m.